the first half of today's event was useful for you, and I hope the second half will be just as useful. We've heard from RSB Careers, Skills Builder and Zello, and we are about to hear from Unifrog, Start and then Growfar. As before, welcome to the session. Please ensure that your mics are off. You can have your videos on if you would like to. The session will be recorded and it will be sent out later. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will make sure that we monitor them as we go through and ensure that we leave a few minutes for them to be answered at the end. Can I introduce now John Hillis from Unifrog, and if to introduce yourself and then share your screen, I will make sure I give you a bit of a nudge just before the end, at least 5 minutes or so, if there are any questions in the chat. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Right, over to you.
So as has been said, my name's John from Unifrog. I'm the East Midlands area manager, and I've been with Unifrog, I guess, since the early days. I'm going to share my screen with you now. Hopefully this will come through. You can see that okay, Sahira?
Yes, that's absolutely fine. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So just a bit about Unifrog. We work with about 2,000 schools nationally. I'm going to be going through a bit about who we are and what we're about, and really kind of like take you through various features and benefits of the platform, ideally with the end result that if you want to know more about what we do, then you can get in contact with me. I'll have my contact details at the end so that I can arrange a demonstration for you and key staff or SLT in your school, which I often do. And you can ask any questions, of course, and you'll have my phone number and email address. So we are a social enterprise. We're passionate about students getting the guidance and information to help them to make the best decisions and successful applications. Unifrog links the skills, knowledge, and the curriculum to careers, LMI, pathways, so that there is this golden thread bringing everything together. You'll have the tools to implement a world-class careers program or support your existing program that's already there, supported as well by our CPDs, webinars, and you'll also be able to measure that impact, demonstrating that learners' destinations meet their interests, aspirations, and intentions. And one of the key things is that, of course, you know as well as I do, there are more ways of measuring success than solely from an academic standpoint, which really takes us on to our next slide to tell you more about Unifrog, our mission, and why we started. We started really with the couple that are in the picture, started Unifrog, and Alex was an English teacher in Highbury Grove, and he started a charity called the Access Project. I don't know if you've ever heard or come across the Access Project, that mentors bright students from disadvantaged backgrounds and finds them people who will mentor them and help them through to then go on to higher education. And one of the things that was really coming out, as no doubt you will have come across as well, is that students make typically the same mistakes every year on applications, but also that there's so much data and information out there. And what wanted to do very early on was to basically make it easy to bring together all this data and information so it was easy to understand and to compare, to make really smart choices, successful applications. And Unifrog has grown from there in a very short space of time. And there are 3 key things that underpin our mission, that we put having a positive social impact for anything else. We never stop trying to improve our platform or our services. In the short time I've been with Unifrog for nearly 6 years, but the platform has developed incredibly in that time, but also that we hugely value our customers and work along with them and respond to their input. So the platform has been built based on the feedback from our schools and our partners. So all the information is in one single, impartial, user-friendly platform. So this is kind of a comparison. In the last 5 years, when I started, I think we were in about 150 schools, and we had a couple of tools. The first one was a university search tool and an apprenticeship search tool. And then shortly after that came college and sixth form search tools. And now where we have this complete suite of applications and tools for schools to use that really span across all year groups from year 7 right through to 13. So there's been some real changes in that time. And, you know, even if you look at the icons on the left of apprenticeships and university, even how things are spoken about in terms of opportunities has had to change to really improve how students perceive and overcome stigmas or misunderstanding of certain opportunities. So there's been tremendous changes, and as I said, now really working with 2,000 schools and colleges, we've also learned what works and what doesn't work. So to just give you some kind of idea in numbers, I said 2,000 schools, but these are a recent breakdown of how many numbers there are actively students on the platform in different key stage groups. I think in the early days, if you knew anything about Unifrog, you may have thought that Unifrog was about university. In actual fact, it means it's universal. It's everything in one place. And a lot perceive that we're a sixth form tool. But we've been working with key stage 3 and 4 students for some time, and certainly been making sure that the platform is relevant and impacts with younger students. And certainly it is everything in one place. During the recent lockdown, which has had an impact on all of us, I'm sure, we worked twice as hard to engage and support schools with many free of charge resources, distance learning, webinars and CPD, even phone calls to careers leaders to support them. We had about 2,500 schools sign up for free distance learning resources. So now we have nearly 1 million students on the platform actively. We're making a real impact with them. There are 4 kind of pillars that underpin what Unifrog is. And one of the key ones here is pathways. And really, you see that the tools that are kind of listed on that page really shows how this follows through this journey from year 7. So that a student who's recently been added to the platform and introduced to it can do the very basics to start with in terms of reflective activities about who they are, what they like, in terms of their personality and their interests. And then these then take them on to look at careers and subject information. And subject information, of course, is key, particularly with those students picking those GCSE or A-level or level 3 options. So each tool kind of like then nicely goes into the next one that helps them to look at that information. It doesn't tell them what they should or shouldn't be, but it helps them to explore and explains the results of what they've just done. To then look at careers information, which is also dovetailed with regional and national data and LMI. And also subject information. There's a lot that feeds into the subject so that students are effectively, this is supporting really benchmark 2, Gatsby benchmarks, but also benchmark 3. They're able to see what their needs are and see how they can explore those. And they can also go further into the curriculum through Unifrog. So there are lots of things that link into the subject, lots for subject teachers. Taking them into the skills and competencies within subjects, but also the deeper curriculum, understanding links to careers, but also the wider reading, super curricular. We're about to start a series of free student webinars. Any student can sign up for these on subject discovery so that they can have experts talk to them about how they can explore subjects that they're really interested in getting into in more detail. And lots of information that helps them to understand this, but that also you can make sure that it comes across in the right way to students. Searching for opportunities, that any opportunity that's post 16 or post 18 is in one place. This is all impartial data that comes into Unifrog. It's not manipulated in any way. A student can see all the apprenticeships available. A lot of tools are refreshed every 24 hours. So they compare the opportunities side by side and make smart choices. Each shortlisting tool takes them through 5 steps and helps them to process it. At the end of it, they have a short list of opportunities to look at. But the key here as well is that a staff member, a teacher, or a careers advisor can then also know what the student is interested in. So they can have a really productive conversation with the student to discuss those opportunities for key year groups. And that is everything really in one place to encourage those searches. We'll also look at special opportunities, so scholarships, bursaries, and also virtual work experience opportunities have recently been added onto the platform. So there are lots of these for students to see and sign up for. And some of those are subject specific, but some of those are across the board. So there are really some great tools for them to explore their next steps. There's a lot on Unifrog that is reflective and takes them through that journey, as we spoke about. We've heard from fantastic Skills Builder initiative, and we've partnered with them to bring the universal framework into Unifrog so that a student can easily see the skills that are required, the job descriptions of careers, but then also record the evidence of what they have in terms of their skills. And there are lesson plans that support all of these in terms of skills writing, but also evidence of them bringing all this together in a locker. So they have this online record of achievement. But in addition to that, making really successful applications by using CVs and writing tools or personal statements. And any teacher can then log in and see this information on a student and can comment on it and provide feedback. Also, when it comes to skills, they may see gaps in their skills, so they want to discuss those with the student or set up lesson plans to support all these different activities that students can complete as they work towards successful applications. And then this final pillar is on management and tracking, so that at any point a student has interacted with the platform in any way, you can easily see that, and you can then create reports and data from that so that you know that you are impacting on the students in the right way. That could be through seeing their engagement, seeing what careers they're interested in or subjects or their skills, but also being able to cut this data in a variety of ways, maybe by pupil premium, EAL, and so on, so that you can see the evidence and react accordingly for implementing a successful program. And as well, you may be aware that we integrate with Compass Plus, so that all the interactions that have been logged for events, trips, speakers, and so many different types of interactions are easily recorded in Unifrog, but then they can be uploaded into Compass Plus. The added benefit of using Unifrog is the student gets a record of their careers program as per benchmark 3, so that's best practice, but also that parents can also see a record of the interactions that students have had and get a regular report of what is happening with their son or daughter. And of course, a lot of the information then is easy to send to students in groups, so specialist groups, a STEM group, an engineering group, gifted and talented groups, a cookery group, whatever it might be. There's lots of ways of tracking groups and creating this evidence. And that's without even mentioning how Unifrog also has effective tools for the kind of UCAS process for reference writing, personal statements, and managing those. Of course, many schools are interested in how to give remote guidance to year groups. Some of the ones I'm working with in Leicester have year groups at home, or they've been through some real challenges with key year groups. So again, it's easy to also set student tasks and monitor if they've been completed. So there are many ways that the platform helps you to measure the impact, and also record intentions of students, which is really important, because with benchmark 3, how do you create a good careers program that meets the needs of your students unless you really understand what it is that there are aspirations or intentions. So it's easy on the platform to record intention data and then implement the correct program so that you're able to have these sustained destinations across post 16 and post 18. The infographic charts make it very easy to see the progress of students as they develop skills or they log onto the platform, or how you track Gatsby, and also the completion of certain tasks. But you're able to cut the data on the charts in many ways. So you could cut it to a year group, a tutor group, a specific group of students you want to track, even maybe things like pupil premium, as was mentioned before, so that you can track this and then extract the right kind of information and reports, so that you can really measure the impact of the program. Now, we're really quite unique in the kind of support that we provide, that there's an enormous amount of support and training at Unifrog, which is growing all the time. We're trying to find more ways that we can support schools. So that can be in-person staff training. I've even done, training for entire cohorts of teaching staff on benchmark 4 and how Unifrog supports that benchmark. But there are lots of ways that you're able to be supported in terms of admin support, but also having dedicated area managers and account managers, and also being part of a community. We have CPD sessions and national conferences. We have themed weeks. Lots of these are free of charge for you to access, whether or not you're a Unifrog partner. And we provide a lot of training and webinars. And we're improving and increasing in the amount of student webinars there are at the moment to give access to students from employers and universities, as if they can't get into school. So we're creating lots of content. So the Unifrog program really helps you to really kind of like dovetail or kind of use Unifrog as the hub of your existing careers program. And we really want to understand what your goals are, your careers goals. You may be going for a career mark award, or you particular benchmarks you want to improve in. You might have specific goals. So we want to understand these so that we can discuss with you the best way of using the platform and how to advise you on that, and train the key staff, so that you can put this program, implement a good program, and then measure the impact of it. And we can then, of course, help you to review regularly how you're having this positive impact across the school with using Unifrog. And one of the things we really worked hard on over the summer, anticipating the challenges of the kind of environment that we live in at the moment, is the blended learning program approach. So we put together if you like, a ready-made scheme of work that works on the basis of blended learning, so that it's easy to deliver sessions in person or remotely, online or offline sessions. So you're not just depending on computers, having offline lesson plans or online lesson plans, what easy wins there are in using the platform and setting up the resources that you need to run those. But also, the difference in time. I speak to a lot of schools, and the careers program is now very much in the tutor program, or it's in the Learning for Life lessons or the PSHE program. So it's kind of like also identifying what time is available, whether it's a 15-minute session needed or a 45-minute session. And we've even mapped our blended learning program against the Gatsby benchmarks, but also the CBI framework, so that you're able to deliver the best program at the moment and moving forward that is going to work for you as a school. So the community of Unifrog schools is quite extensive. There's a great regional presence in Leicester now that's grown particularly over the last year, but of course in the East Midlands as well. It wouldn't be too far before we could put you in touch with somebody who is a another careers leader that you may have already met before, you may be familiar with. And we do regular checks to see if we are making the right impact with our schools and with students, and surveys. We also have 1,000 careers leaders in our Unifrog network on Facebook. And there is a lot that you can join in with. We have a themed week coming up in January that you can get involved in, with Skills and Enterprise Week, which we're promoting. Will be free of charge for anybody to join, where we'll have webinars and conferences, a teacher conference, but also student webinars for that week, and resources to run. So there's a lot that you can enjoy and benefit from that isn't extra cost or hidden cost. It's all part of Unifrog. We've been in a unique position to be able to give some insight on student behavior, students' motivation or interests, because of the amount of students using the platform. And this has led to us putting together insight reports that are free of charge on our website. If you look at our website and look at the Insights tab, you can click on there. You can see we're up to about our 6th insight report, which you can download. And we've also used these to give insight on students through this period of lockdown and COVID, and the impact on them in terms of their motivation, their well-being, their aspirations. And we've had some expert input from on those as well. You can see some of the names on this slide, but also, from the Positive Group and from Causeway Education. There's been a lot of really useful insights from these reports. Welcome you to look at. So really, just to summarize, what are the benefits of using Unifrog? For students, really what I would pick out from this is really how to get from A to B and then finish at Z. Really, for students, they are getting everything that they need from start to finish to really understand the opportunities available to them, to reflect on themselves and to look at the full range of options, to then have a clear next step. And all the way along, careers leaders and advisors and teachers and tutors and so on are able to respond, so that they give them the right support and need and cover their needs, but have kind of like a complete overview of how this program, this stable careers program that's been put into place, is working and the impact that it's making. But all the schemes of work and resources, ready-made lesson plans, tracking Gatsby or managing UCAS, this is available through this process. And really, we partner with schools to make sure that this is consistent across all year groups. If there are areas of concern for the school, and particularly it might be at the moment they have key year groups that they're concerned about, that they may particularly want more help with. So we want to make sure that they're getting the support and training, but also make it available to them, the kind of opportunities available, the student webinars, the conferences or CPDs that are available for schools to take part in. So we welcome you to join us at Unifrog. You can see my contact details are there, my email address and phone number. And I've covered quite a lot, really. Covered our mission, what we're about, how we work with schools very much on a personalized basis to understand what is needed in a school and to make the right impact. But I'd be very happy to have discussions with anybody who gets in touch and arrange further demonstrations, live demonstrations of the platform as well, which I thought would be too much to try and do in this short time that we had. So I wanted to use this kind of avenue instead. So Sahira, I'll pass back to you and see if there's any more questions.
Thank you, John. Well, we'll just give it a minute or so for anyone to type in questions that they might have. Thank you for giving us a good overview of your platform, and it was quite interesting to hear all the different things and the functionality that it has. There doesn't seem to be many questions. You did well to go through the time as well, so that was very good. I wasn't going to stop you, but but you did stop in good time. We have one question. What is the cost of the programme?
I was kind of expecting that to be the first question. It usually is.
Yes.
Okay, so the cost does vary to the type of school. So we're working with 11 to 16 schools, 11 to 18 schools, and of course colleges and sixth forms as well. So it does vary according to that, and also the products that are purchased, and also the length of subscription, because you can take out a subscription for 1, 2, or 3 years. So in recent times as well, there's been additional discounts for multi-year subscriptions, but also sometimes the school has used money from NCOP or other initiatives to pay for Unifrog. So we try to offer discounts on that basis, and also multi-academy trusts. So the cost ranges from about £1,600, which covers every single student, every single parent, every single member of staff within the school. There's no cost per head, and the very maximum that the price would be is 2,500 for a school. That would be in a large 11 to 18 school. So try to make it as fair as possible. There's no hidden costs. There's no additional costs for any of the features that I mentioned, like webinars or reporting or data or anything like that. It's just a straightforward subscription cost.
Okay, thank you. We have one more question. What provisions do you have in the programme for SEND schools, so that's special educational needs and disability schools?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we're really conscious of the need for SEND resources, and we do work with a few schools. I'm actually in conversation with a school at Newark at the moment about kind of like the provision that's needed. We are in the middle of writing and having written much more in the way of SEND resources for careers, and we are trying to expand more into to make us effective in this area. So we could certainly go through in more detail how we currently can be used on that basis, and we realize that it's an area that we could improve on. So we'd certainly make that is on our development list in terms of even just creating more resources available for careers for SEND. So that is something that we are addressing.
It's good to hear that it's in the pipeline at least.
Yeah.
One more question around the cost. So you said you start from 1,600 for a school. There are smaller schools. So one of our schools is 32 learners. Would it be the same, or would that be different?
It would be different because we want to make it as fair as possible for very small schools. The school I was just talking about in Newark has about 43 students, I believe. So we discuss those kind of situations with the institution directly as to what we can make a fair price for them to have access to the platform in the best way, but also the fact they have so few students. So yeah, we do kind of go outside of that for that reason. So
they need to discuss with you individually.
Yeah, definitely. We can discuss that and how that works. And it's probably best to do it on that basis.
Yeah, of course. Okay, I think we might be just thereabouts with questions for you. So thank you very much, John,
no problem.
For giving us that overview and for joining us today. And if there are any more questions, I'm sure they can get directed to you, because we will put your email out with the recording afterwards. And I'm sure people would have taken down your details at the end there. So thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you very much.